I offer, not what I've experienced, is that we can measure our level of commitment to something by the amount of time we're willing to spend on it, or by the amount of time we do spend on it. There's all sorts of activities, but some of the more popular, notable ones, you have sports, you have politics, you have religion. And you could take those activities and you could either be a spectator or you could be plugged in and you could be in the game. Sports, there's a lot of sports watching out there, but are we involved in some kind of sport or exercise for the good of the body? Keep ourselves in shape. Politics, we talk about the president, about the governor, about our legislators and about what they're doing. Or are we writing letters? Are we plugged into the process? Are we getting involved? Or are we just on the sidelines? Religion, we can talk about what Father so-and-so did or what Bishop so-and-so did, but do we get involved? Write letters. Go talk to the priests and bishops. Tell them what we think. Ask them some good questions. I found in leadership that the easiest thing there is to do is to criticize, condemn, or complain. The precise thing Dale Carnegie says we should never do. The hardest thing to do is to try to do something for a group of people. Because someone is always going to not be satisfied. And someone will always complain. And it's not always the same person, but you're dealing with human beings. And everybody's different. And we all know that, those of us who are leaders of families. Very hard to do something for a group of people and have everybody satisfied. Especially if we're a leader of a big family. So what do? We find the highest good for everybody. And as the good book says, you have been successful in small things. Not that family is a small thing, it's the most important thing, but it's a smaller group, more controlled group. Now, I would have and entrust you to larger things, bigger groups, maybe different mindset amongst that group. The dynamics change. Same principles apply though. So imagine being the president. Imagine being the Pope, having to do something and make decisions for the whole world. Can't imagine anybody that would want to be the Pope. Gentlemen, the church is in trouble. The family is in trouble. And we have been given, 40 years ago, this directive by Archbishop Sheen. And the church and the family are in trouble because of failed male leadership. Michael Voris does an excellent job of reminding us of that very often. It's our fault. The church is in the condition it's in, and the family is in the condition it's in because of female leadership in both of those areas. We look at the liturgy, the type of liturgy we have. Can we see some feminine underpinnings into there? We look at the way the parishes are run and the programs that are offered. Can we see some female leadership that's driving those things? So, I could tell you that you'll be judged and that you'll burn in hell for being so lazy and negligent and not caring. But I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. Because that would be poor leadership on my part. So I'm not going to say that. Because Mr. Ziegler says that is fear motivation. And fear motivation is the lowest form of motivation. That's what we do with a 5 to 7 year old. So we should have the highest form, which is growth motivation. Imagine yourself making a difference. Imagine yourself leading. Mother Angelica had said, some of these authors should spend a good bit of time in purgatory for the way they wrote up the lives of the saints, making them look so angelic. But they weren't always as good as they were noted to be. So that gives us hope. But, I just came off of 6 years in leadership of a school organization. But before that, I imagined myself in that position. What would I do if I were in that position? What kind of things would I say? What kind of programs would I want to offer? Do we ever think about that? Do we ever imagine ourselves in positions of leadership? Because that's what makes our mind follow in that direction. But I also always knew that there was going to be something after it. That it was going to be a development towards something different. Something else. Didn't know what it was, but just went through it and learned from it as I went. And this is how leadership works. You have people that are in the ranks, military, go from private to corporal and on up, and I don't know all the ranks, but you have a few generals. But what happens? Those generals eventually retire. So somebody else has got to step up to fill that void. All along, people are working. Again, the idea is work toward eventually getting into that position. Is anybody here waiting for that call? Anybody here chomping at the bit to step up into leadership? That's what we ought to be doing. We ought to be working on ourselves, just like Zig did. He was working on himself for free, for nothing. Because what? You never know when somebody's going to be taken out. You never know when that position is going to come open. Look at Mother Angelica. What was it? One year just struck dumb. Or was it around Christmas? Just stroke. Can't speak anymore. A void there. Somebody's got to step up into that. That's a big void to fill. If we are committed and consistent, faithful, we call it. Just as Mother Teresa said, be faithful. Not necessarily successful, but faithful to the task. We'll get put to work, and some leadership role may be there for us. Play to your strength. Know what the gifts that God has given you, and work them. Work on them. Develop them. It may be organization. You may be able to put things together well. Maybe working with groups, you can motivate people and get them going to do things. You may be a personable person that can meet one-to-one with somebody and be plugged into helping people as they come along. You may be a natural-born salesman. You could sell ice to the Eskimos. This stuff is all about sales. That's what it is. And getting this message across. That way we're ready. We're ready. Because we never know when the Holy Spirit is going to call us up. God bless you.
God bless you.